November 30th, 2020. Where are the Tiger King stars now? Tiger King Murder, Mayhem and Madness aired on Netflix on March 20, 2020, and by April, Variety reported that more than 64 million households had watched it. The bizarre twist to this story of big cat exploiters being called out by me, Carole Baskin, for what I consider egregious animal abuse is that it seemed the producers failed to expose the depths of the neglect and abuse and instead decided to vilify the one person that all exotic animal abusers hate and call out by name, Carole Baskins. Yeah, they can't even get the name right either. So, where are all of these exotic cat owners just a few short months later? Where is Joe Exotic Schreibvogel Maldonado passage now? Joe Exotic is still serving out his 22-year prison sentence after being convicted of 17 violations involving wildlife trafficking and shooting 5 healthy tigers in the head to make boarding space available for a circus. He was also convicted on murder for hire charges in a plot to have me killed. What most people don't know is that he'd been rallying his minions to kill me for nearly 15 years by saying that I was coming to take their pets from them, including their dogs, cats, and goldfish. Failing to motivate anyone to do it for free, in 2014, people started calling me to say he'd offered to pay them to do it. The last person he tried to hire was an undercover FBI agent. Where are Jeff Lowe and Lauren Lowe now? They have lost their license to exhibit wild animals, which includes showing them in person, via television, or the internet. On November 19, 2020, the Department of Justice filed suit against Jeff and Lauren Lowe for pages and pages of alleged violations of the Endangered Species Act and USDA's Animal Welfare Act. We know they offloaded 49 big cats to Mary Lynn Haven of Tiger Haven in Tennessee, who now has 253 exotic cats as of November of 2020, before moving the rest of the animals from the GW Zoo that they had to turn over to me on October 3, 2020. We were told at least one liger died from an overdose administered by Lowe during the move, according to the sheriff who was on hand to ensure our crew's safety. We have heard they also sent cats to Greg Woody. Read about the DOJ's complaint here. And then that's on the 911 animal abuse page if you look up Jeff Lowe. The best thing about this lawsuit, and others faced by cub breeders, is that it will finally create a legal interpretation that big cat cubs should not be separated from their mothers and should not be handed around as ego props based on it being a take under the Endangered Species Act, and that doing so is a violation of the Animal Welfare Act. USDA has failed to enforce their laws for years, so the courts are taking charge and doing it. Whether the Big Cat Public Safety Act or the final order in this case comes first doesn't matter much, as both will definitively end the mass production of cubs for this 1-month window of abuse. That is well over 90% of the captive breeding of big cats, who serve no conservation value due to being inbred and crossbred. Captive breeding provides a legal smokescreen for illegal poaching and sales of wild tigers and other big cats for their parts. Whichever comes first will end the era of abuse once and for all. The only question is, will it be in time to save the tiger in the wild? Where is Kevin Bhagavan Doc Antle now? Kevin Bhagavan Doc Antle and daughters have been indicted. Bhagavan Antle, who refers to himself as Doc and is the owner of Myrtle Beach Safari in South Carolina, was charged with 2 felony counts related to wildlife trafficking and 13 additional misdemeanors, according to the Office of the Attorney General of Virginia. Tawny Antle and Tillicam Watterson, daughters of Mr. Antle, are also facing several misdemeanor charges in connection with animal cruelty and alleged violations of the Endangered Species Act. All of the big cat exploiters, we think he's the smartest one. But is he smart enough to figure out that continuing to charge people to pet cubs is likely to result in fines, revocation of his license to exhibit, maybe even jail time? Meanwhile, his season should be over for the winter at Barefoot Landing in Myrtle Beach, so hopefully the cub petting storefront is shuttered for the winter. Thanks to a petition by PETA, the USDA is requesting that exhibitors do the following. Number 1, consult with their attending veterinarians in order to protect the health and welfare of big cats. No decent vet would approve of cub handling displays. Number 2, wear extra protective equipment and practice physical distancing when possible. And the biggie, number 3, encourage members of the public to keep at least 6 feet away from big cats and optimally wear a mask when in the vicinity of big cats, this effectively ending all cub petting displays. Where is Tim Stark now? Tim Stark of Wildlife in Need has had his USDA license revoked. On February 3rd of 2020, the judge ruled that, quote, respondents willfully violated the AWA, that's the Animal Welfare Act, on multiple occasions. As set out below, I also find that respondents' business is large. The gravity of such violations was great. There is a history of previous violations, and the respondents did not act in good faith. Therefore, respondents are ordered to cease and desist from violating the Animal Welfare Act and the regulations and standards issued thereunder. AWA license number 32-C-0204 is hereby revoked. Respondents are jointly and severally assessed a civil penalty of $300,000 for their violations herein, and Respondent Stark is assessed a civil penalty of $40,000 for his violations herein, unquote. His animals have been seized and dispersed to other facilities. See the order USDA versus Tim Stark revoke license. Where is Carole Baskin now? That's me. I performed in 3 episodes of Dancing with the Stars during the month of September in 2020 and was in thousands of articles, TV interviews, radio interviews, podcasts, and other media outlets discussing the reasons that big cats should not be held hostage in cages and why we need to save them in the wild before it's too late. I launched the world's first virtual reality game to protect big cats for free in the Oculus store for Rift S and for a small fee on all other headsets via Steam. This game is broadly distributed by Springboard VR to arcades everywhere and is called Carole Baskin's Big Cat Rescue VR. I'm one of Cameo's most prolific earners, having created more than 2,300 greetings with 400 plus fabulous reviews. Thank you, everybody. I've done licensing deals with mask manufacturers and have my own bobblehead and U2 stalls. I'm in negotiations for a TV show series on the work we do to end big cat abuse and to write my memoirs. I'm posting my diary entries daily at savethecats.org. Where is Howard Baskin now? Howard is writing his book and recently arranged the peaceful transition of the GW Zoo from Jeff and Lauren Lowe to us. The Lowes left behind 2 bears, 3 tigers, and 11 wolves, who were all successfully relocated to GFAS-accredited Wild Animal Sanctuary. Howard still leads weekly calls with our coalition partners, who are working to end the cub handling and phase out private possession of big cats. On December 3, 2020, our federal bill, the Big Cat Public Safety Act, comes up for a vote on the suspension calendar of the House. We have a majority, with over 230 co-sponsors, but need a 2/3 vote to pass under suspension. We are rallying the tens of millions of supporters of our collective organizations to contact their member of Congress at bigcatact.com to send an email asking them to vote for H.R. 1380. Howie has his own bobblehead and U2 stalls as well. How is Big Cat Rescue now? Due to COVID-19, it's impossible to give tours the way we did in the past, where a guide would lead a small group of 20 or fewer in a closed group to explain why big cats don't belong in cages. Thankfully, our donors have really stepped up to help cover the $1 million plus per year that came from these tours. The licensing deals Howard and I are participating in helps as well. We had to let go of half of our staff and still have not been able to hire them back because their roles are diminished by the lack of guest relations and on-site gift shop sales. The cats are all doing great, though, because all of our animal care has always been done by our amazing volunteer force of 80 to 110 highly trained people who are still coming in daily to provide care. Not having tours has enabled us to tackle so many projects around the property, so things are looking better than ever before. We continue to add live cameras to the cats. We do live broadcasts daily to Facebook and YouTube, and we produce 2 to 4 videos per week, with one being a traditional high-quality movie and the other in 180 3D immersive styles for VR headsets. Where are the rest of the exotic animal dealers and owners from Tiger King now? Where is James Garretson now? We have heard he's still in the jet ski rental business and that he no longer has any exotic cats. Where is Mario Tabro now? We know Mario Tabro has recently been offloading wild cats to Mary Lynn Haven of Tiger Haven in Tennessee, who is not licensed by USDA and is not accredited by the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries. As someone smart enough to apparently turn state's evidence to reduce his 100-year sentence to 12 years, Mario Tabro can probably see the handwriting on the wall. When the DOJ prevails in their case against Jeff Lowe, it should make it clear that taking cubs from their mothers and using them in pay-to-play schemes is a violation of the Endangered Species Act and or the Animal Welfare Act, and penalties are severe. Where is Mark McCarthy now? Mark McCarthy is best known to those fighting to protect big cats as someone who rents out cats for rap music videos. But after Cardi B was criticized by me for even using photoshopped big cats in her videos and got so much public backlash as a result, I have to believe that business will decline as newer generations speak out against such exploitation of these majestic wild animals. Remember Tiger King producer Eric Goode stating that it was seeing a majestic snow leopard in the back of a van on a hot day in Florida was his reason for creating this expose? Go back and watch, and you will see that the person who opened the side door to his van to reveal the snow leopard was Mark McCarthy. The logo is briefly visible, but that connection is never clearly made in the show. Instead, he was used as a voice of disparagement against me, saying things about my personal life that he knew nothing about. If you're enjoying my diary, please like, share, and subscribe. You can find other ways to connect to me over at bigcatrescue.org/Carole.Baskin.